and welcome everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to be here on this very hot, muggy Friday. And who's present in person?
Clay?
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you. Let me turn my volume up a little bit, maybe. Maybe it's me. Okay, yeah, it's probably me. Go ahead.
Clay?
Okay.
Christina Scott? Roger Tutoro? Judge Williford? And yourself.
He's not in person.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So in person, we have
Oh, that's right. Okay.
yeah. So we have three members in person and two virtual at this point, and then of course we have our amazing staff that's present. Anyone else present other than staff and commission members at this point?
No.
All right. And Justice Land not with us yet then, right?
No.
First time we can call him that. So it's exciting. One of our members is in that position. All right. So let's forge ahead. Maybe we'll get a quorum along the way if there's anything we need to vote on. Lazaro, will you go over the housekeeping matters?
Yes. Can everyone hear me well?
Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lazaro Quintanilla. I'm the program coordinator for the Georgia Child Support Commission. I will briefly discuss a few rules to help us navigate the meeting today via Zoom webinar. The Child Support Commission meeting members and staff are designated as panelists within Zoom and can speak at any time during this meeting. All participants are designated as attendees and are muted during the meeting, but may type a message in the Zoom chat feature if needed. Also, anyone wishing to give public comment by speaking today may do so at the end of the meeting after the completion of our agenda. Please state you would like to give public comments by typing your request in the chat. Once you are called upon, we will unmute your audio. Our chair, Judge Key, will make the determination of how many minutes you're allowed to speak. In conclusion of today's meeting, staff will post this recording on our YouTube channel, Georgia Child Support Commission. We will place the YouTube channel in the chat for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And since our last meeting, we've had a staff change at AOC. I guess a couple of changes. One is that Noel, who's been Assistant Division Director since August of 2019, has ascended to Michelle Barkley's previous position as Division Director. And Joanna Deering, who's with us today and has been at committee meetings, is the new Assistant Division Director. We certainly, as of June 1st. Joanna, we welcome you to the team. We certainly try to operate in that way. If there's anything any of the commission members can ever do for you, please feel free to give us a call and reach out to us, okay?
Yeah.
Great, thanks. We'll have to hold the minutes. And perhaps if we don't get a quorum, can we just send those out for an electronic vote?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can get that handled. All right, business of the commission, committee reports. We'll start with Dr. Tutterer, Economic Subcommittee.
Thank you, Judge Key, and reporting out as chair of the Economic Subcommittee. We had a subcommittee meeting on June 12th, and we essentially did two action items. Number one, we are going to begin our 2026 economic study. And so as part of that, we will hold two listening sessions to allow the public to provide input. One will be a face-to-face live session in Macon, Georgia during the day on the 27th of August. And then the next evening, August 28th, we will have a Zoom session. Doing so, we wanted to have one face-to-face so that people that are technologically, that have developmental issues in technology can provide us face-to-face input. So anyone's welcome to attend either one of those sessions. We will narrow at the session the scope. I mean, we're not going to allow, no one can relitigate their case. You know, we're not judges. We're not taking on those issues. We also want to make sure that their comments are germane to the mission of the Economic Subcommittee. And so that there will be other issues that come up in child support that are not within our domain. So the dates are all being listed, as well as a sign up period. If you want to speak, we can sign up in advance if you'd like, or just show up and speak. But also on the commission's website, we will have the ability for people to leave written comments between August 15th and September 15th. So that was the first action item that we had coming out of the subcommittee. We set those dates. And the second is the subcommittee has recommended hiring Jane Venor from the Center of Policy Research to conduct the 2026 economic study. Now, that would require full action of the board, so it's going to sit on the table as a motion from the subcommittee until time we have full.
And if we don't reach that quorum, can we also handle that by electronic vote?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And that does require a commission vote? I said-
Yes, I think, yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, Dr. Tedero, thank you very much. Any questions for Dr. Tedero? This is hard work, it's important work, and we certainly appreciate you guys, all the committee members taking that on. Who are the other committee members, Dr. Tedero, or staff?
Chuck's on there, and who else do we add?
Joe Massey.
Oh, Joe, yes, sir, Joe, of course.
And she's on the call.
Yeah, thank you, Jill, for serving.
Thank you, Joe Massey. Yeah,
All right, and next we will move to the Statute Review Committee. So it looks like it's going to be you, Judge Wilford.
Well, and I hope y'all can hear me and I don't freeze up. I'm getting a notice that my connection is unstable, which is not unusual. I'm in court in Peach County, and try as we might, I always have an unstable connection in Fort Valley. So the subcommittee last met a couple of weeks ago on July 18th. And at the meeting, we discussed several potential changes to our child support statute, OCGA 19.615. Including removing the 7% test and the deviation for special expenses for child rearing, expressly providing that extraordinary expenses for child rearing may be handled outside the worksheet, the same way we have the option to handle things like childcare, daycare expenses, fleshing out the high income deviation to give guidance on how to come up with the deviation amount. If it's higher, if the income is higher than what our child support worksheets provide, and moving dental and vision insurance from Schedule E to Schedule D, where we currently have our healthcare medical insurance. After much discussion, the subcommittee recommends removing the 7% test and the deviation for special expenses for child rearing. Based on what Dr. Venor has told us and what we've learned, I think we're one of the few, if only, states that have that 7% test. It has created a lot of problems for practitioners, for judges, for litigants. And there's even been some appellate cases where folks are handling the extraordinary expenses outside the worksheet without considering the 7% test. So sort of part and parcel to that, the subcommittee is also recommending expressly providing that extraordinary expenses for child rearing can either be handled outside the worksheet or can be included as a deviation. So again, much like we have the option with the child care expenses, the only difference would be the child care expenses, of course, are not a deviation. But in this case, you would have the option of either just having your extraordinary expenses considered under Schedule E as a deviation, or just handling them outside of the worksheet. And then moving the dental and the vision insurance from Schedule E to Schedule D. And, you know, I think a lot of folks are already doing that. They're just adding it and putting it under Schedule D. And, you know, in my mind, I thought about it and I thought, well, there are some Georgia families who cannot afford dental insurance or cannot afford vision insurance. But really, the way every single document I've ever seen defines medical expenses, it includes dental and vision. So in other words, you know, if you don't have the insurance and you're having to pay 50% or whatever it is of the uncovered medical expenses, it includes the dental and the vision. So really it's cheaper on Georgia families if they have that option of insurance than it is to cover, you know, 50% or whatever the percentage is of the uncovered expenses for those. So The recommendation was just to treat the dental and the vision insurance if one of the parents has it and is paying for it, the same as we are treating the medical insurance, and to move it from the Schedule E to the Schedule D. And there really was a lot of reasons for that we discussed. These are things that we've talked about for a long time, and we really hope to get to last year so that we can include it in the legislation that was passed last session. But because we were spending so much time on the low income adjustment and the parenting time adjustment, we simply just could not get to everything. But those things we are recommending to the commission. We've asked the commission staff to draft language to that effect, making those changes. This language will be shared with the full commission once it's available. And the subcommittee does not recommend moving forward with creating a high income adjustment at this time. As everyone knows, we just had one of those. And so we just felt like it was a little premature to ask for another one, even though I know there are some families and some courts who are asking for some guidance on how to deal with that. So the subcommittee also discussed the possibility of the commission issuing advisory memorandums. Specifically, we had talked about an advisory memorandum specifying that the new parenting time adjustment, which goes into effect, of course, on January 1st, provides a basis for modifying child support. Legislative Counsel Holly Carter prepared an opinion regarding whether the Georgia Child Support Commission had the authority to issue an advisory opinion. She concluded that the Child Support Commission has no express authority to issue advisory opinions, and whether it has implied authority is unclear. Therefore, the subcommittee does not recommend issuing any advisory memorandum, specifically any advisory memorandum pertaining to the parenting time adjustment.
Thank you, Judge Williford. Does anyone have any questions or comments on any of these issues?
I think, again, the big two are removing the 7% test and allowing for those extraordinary expenses for child rearing to be handled either outside the worksheet or included as a deviation without having that 7% built in. And again, moving the dental and vision from Schedule E to Schedule D.
Right. I'm waiting a second. We're having some other folks joining us. There's Judge Colbert. Good morning, Judge Colbert.
Good morning, everyone.
So I
Sorry for
think-
my tardiness.
That's all right. We're kind of short today anyway, so far we have with you then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 6 members, is that right?
I saw Noelle had raised her hand, Judge Key.
Okay, oh, I'm sorry, Noel?
Okay, we're with Judge Colbert's rattle now. We're now at 6. And Shannon, if you can, we're.
I'm sorry, Noel, I can't hear you. I don't know about the rest of the
Okay.
folks.
Is that better?
Yes,
Judge Colbert joined us, so we're now at 6 for quorum. We're still not there, but we're making progress. And we have Shannon Weathers, the Executive Director for the Council of Superior Court Judges, on with us. We're trying to promote him to a panelist, but it does take him accepting that. So if you could try to do that, Shannon, we appreciate it. That's all.
Katie Connell has sent me a text message saying that she's finishing a Zoom and will log in as soon as she can. I don't know
Okay.
how that'll help us. How many do we need, Noelle?
8, I think.
Yeah.
Is 8 correct?
8 is correct.
Yes,
So that we'll have 7?
right.
One more. You guys probably already have, but if you could send an email or text if you have phone numbers out to members not present, we might get one more person on and avoid the
Sure.
process of taking electronic votes.
Okay.
Maybe while we're waiting, Judge Buller, if you don't mind, since Judge Colbert is with us, just a very quick summary of what you just went over on these specifically action items from the statute review subcommittee.
Well, fortunately, I believe Judge Colbert was with us on
Oh.
our July 18th subcommittee meeting. But Judge Colbert, I was just explaining that we had talked about removing the 7% test and the deviation for special expenses for child rearing, expressly providing the extraordinary expenses for child rearing may be handled outside the worksheet as an option, and or included as a deviation, just given that option, and moving the dental and vision insurance from Schedule E to Schedule D.
I'm sorry, Judge Colbert, I forgot you were on that call. While we're waiting then, does anyone object to us just skipping over to the Technology and Calculator Subcommittee, or is someone going to give that report since Regina's not here? Or we're going to,
Kurt's gonna give that report.
Yes.
He's just trying to, and we're just trying to get quorum, so just.
Yes.
is that
Good.
yes. Whenever you're ready, Kurt.
All right, well, in Regina's absence, I will give the update for the Tech Cal Subcommittee. The subcommittee last met on July 18th, 2025. Subcommittee discussed the launch of the modernized calculator, which I am thrilled to say was successfully launched on July 21st. I do want to give a shout out to our IT team and the child support team, because we worked tirelessly that weekend to make sure that was launched and ready to go on Monday morning for the general public. So thank you to my team for that. Currently, the IT team, along with commission staff, are working to work on implementing the parenting time adjustment and the low income adjustment, which, as we all know, will be effective at the stroke of midnight on January 1st, 2026. The subcommittee also discussed the calculator's archive of child support worksheets. The calculator currently stores around 630,000 worksheets created by users. Now, unless a user archives a worksheet first and then deletes the worksheet, the calculator just holds on to it, holds on to that data. This proved to be quite burdensome in the calculator modernization project, because every single worksheet had to be migrated over to the new system, which it's basically like translating it to a new program language when it did that. But it also proved to be financially costly. It's getting, the more data we store, the more it costs us every month. So currently, staff are working with the IT team to construct a report of the current cost of the data retention and what the cost of deleting said worksheets would be. I believe we spoke about deleting any worksheet that was over 5 years old, but we will get that cost analysis and we will discuss it with the Technology and Calculator Subcommittee and then present it to the full commission at a later date.
Anybody have any questions for Kurt? All right, thank you, Kurt. I think we can move forward then. Noel, if you're ready to give the update on Uniform Core Rules 24.11 and 24.12.
Yes, so this is just trying to close the loop on this and come full circle. You may recall back during the 2024 legislative session, the General Assembly passed Senate Bill 520, which was to align Georgia terminology with federal terminology, specifically replacing the word deduction with the word withholding in the income deduction order process. So we went from income deduction order to income withholding order, simply so the terminology aligned. But that then brought the Georgia code out of sync with the Uniform Superior Court rules. So we took that on to make sure that that didn't occur. And I'm happy to say that I spoke with Shannon Weathers a couple of weeks ago. It has passed the Superior Court Judges Council, and it is in process of becoming finalized. There's a lengthy process to get it through also the Supreme Court, and he just advised that it would be on the Supreme Court's website sometime in August. Oh, I think Shannon's on with us now. Shannon, did you want to say anything about that?
I do, Noel, and I really apologize for my lack of technological savvy because it took me this long to figure out how to join as a panelist, so I apologize. It actually has, the rule changes have been approved by the Supreme Court now. And they will be effective August the 21st.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thank you. Any
Thank you.
questions or comments about that rule change? All right, do we have anyone who signed up for public comment?
No, we did not.
Okay. So, and as we think about setting up our next meeting, we're going to have some proposed language for legislation, right? So, anyone have a recommendation for when we should schedule that next meeting? If we need to call a special meeting just to deal with legislative matters, perhaps?
Typically, we meet in early November. I think that's a good time frame, likely to get to allow us to get a solid draft through, primary review.
Is that up maybe a little bit? I just know how suddenly things go when you're in the holiday season. If we want to interact with legislators, it almost becomes impossible. They're all focused on their own agendas. I just throw that out. Doesn't matter to me, but I
Yes.
think another 30 days might be a good buffer.
Sure.
What do you think, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I'm, whatever Chuck says, I go along with. If that was Chuck, I think, speaking, because he knows much more about the legislature than I do. He learned it the hard way. So what is there a time that you would suggest, Chuck?
No, I just think if you can do it in October,
Like Wednesday, October 1st, that's 2 months from today, get that really tight. And
if that gives you all enough time. I just think anytime you interact with the General Assembly, more time is better.
No,
I will not be here October 1st.
okay,
Why don't we just look for some dates in October?
Yeah, we do a lot of most of these meetings on Fridays. The first Friday I would have would be the 17th. That's getting a good bit down the road. It's looking more and more like we're gonna have to send an email out for some electronic votes. And maybe you can, commission staff can include with that a doodle poll or something with maybe 3 or 4 dates on it. And we need to try to accommodate as many commission members as we can so we can expect to have a quorum at that meeting.
Yeah, let's emphasize that it's important that there's some important things that needed to be voted on that we were not able to vote on today because we did not have a quorum.
We actually have good news. We're getting there.
We're getting there. We are waiting, Ms. Connell. And if we have Ms. Connell, we'll have.
yeah, Chair Restoration has just joined us, so we're now at 7.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Sorry I was delayed joining you.
Thank you for joining us. We have people joining late and people have to leave early. So we got a little window here. We're still in that window when we can do some business. And the only items that so far I think that we have to vote on would be the minutes and then the work that came out of the statute review subcommittee and Representative Estration, you were there for that meeting, so you're familiar with the content of those.
Yes, sir. Familiar with all of those.
Let me just also add one thing on that. A lot of that time is because once you go to legislative council, they're all getting their calendars filled up with priority items. And you're going to have to go through 3 to 5 or 6 drafts with everybody wordsmiths and input. And that's really the time factor involved.
So maybe we can even do, how about any availability mid-September? Because that still gives us 6 weeks.
That's whatever time y'all need.
Yeah. I still think, I think we're gonna, if we do a doodle poll and we know how many people are gonna be there, we can count on them being there, right? So I still like to give commission, September is fine with me. If we can get all the groundwork done before then. And, but I still think giving 3 or 4 dates out there to give us the very best chance of having a quorum would be the better course. But, and also as soon as possible, because our calendars, if they're not already full for September, will be full. As an example, my October calendar is much more flexible than my September, which is pretty much already booked.
Okay.
So get some dates out maybe in September and in October.
Yes, they'll do. And I've just texted Katie that, because we're just holding our breath here, trying to get to 8. 8.
I'm texting her too, so she's, I guess, getting blown up. I said, we're waiting on you for quorum, otherwise we're finished.
No pressure.
Also, the
Katie.
other thing that we do need to vote on is the hiring of Dr. Jane Venor for the 26 economic study. Just want to make note of that.
Correct.
We have three things to vote on.
Yes. Dr. Moore and Dr. We're ahead of the statutory changes.
So just as we can be thinking about, if we have a Robert's Rules of Order person on the, in this meeting today, would be whether we could take a single vote on all those matters.
The only one you have to do a minute, you just got to do the minutes separately, but I'm not sure on the other.
Okay.
Land has joined us. Yes, we have quorum.
All right. Thank you much. And Justice Land, I'm so excited to say that. Thank you so much for joining us.
And Mr. Chair, I think if you do it that way, as long as people are given the opportunity to pull anything out, if they want to have further discussion.
Okay.
Pull out an item rather than vote on it as a bullet.
Justice, are you with us?
In name only right now.
I was gonna ask, shall I educate Justice Land, almost said Judge Land, Justice Land on the statute review subcommittee recommendations?
Yeah, I think that would be good when we get them on. Katie, of course, if she joins us in the meantime, was there. So Justice Land.
Katie is very familiar. And I know how she'll vote, but.
Justice Land is with us. He's keeping himself muted for some reason.
Okay. Perhaps then when we take a vote, Justice Land, you could vote into the chat, perhaps. I guess that would be okay.
Wait a minute. He says my mic is not working, but I'm here. So Justice Land, I'm going to talk to you about the recommendations of the statute review subcommittee. The subcommittee met a couple of weeks ago on July 18th. And we talked about some things, Justice, that we've been actually talking about for several years. We wanted to have these things ready to present to the legislature last session when we had all the sweeping changes. But unfortunately, because of all the time it was taking to get the low income adjustment and the parenting time adjustment work done, we just simply were not able to get to everything. But a couple of the things that were very pressing and we thought important needed changes to the child support statute were removing the 7% test in the deviation for special expenses for child rearing. After speaking with Dr. Jane Venor, we learned that we are one of the only states, if not the only state, that has that 7% test built in. In reality, no one really understood it. Practitioners, judges, lawyers, litigants, everyone was getting it wrong. There's even been some appellate cases as a result of that and some reversals. So the recommendation was to remove that 7% test in the deviation for special expenses for child rearing, and to expressly provide that extraordinary expenses for child rearing can either be handled outside of the worksheet or can be included as a deviation. And we've done that with the child care expenses. Of course, it's not a deviation, it's an adjustment, but we have allowed for that choice that could be handled outside the worksheet. So the subcommittee is recommending that we allow that choice for extraordinary expenses for child rearing so that folks can decide if they want to handle it completely outside the worksheet, or if they still want to use the worksheet, it would be included as a deviation, but without the 7% test built in the deviation. The other recommendation was removing the dental and moving the dental and vision insurance. For whatever reason, and I know there was a good reason to do it when it was done, but the medical, the health insurance was an adjustment under Schedule D, but the dental and vision was a deviation under Schedule E. And for all practical purposes, very few people do it that way. Most people just lump it all together and put it under Schedule D, which frankly seems to make more sense, we believe. So we are recommending that we move the dental and vision insurance from Schedule E to Schedule D. The commission staff is drafting language regarding those changes that the subcommittee is recommending. That language will be shared with the full commission once available, and that's what we were discussing is how long it would take to have that ready and maybe available to the commission. And the subcommittee does not recommend moving forward with some other things that we discussed, like giving a formula or some sort of clarification on how to deal with high income adjustments for those very high areas that the worksheet doesn't cover at this time. The subcommittee also decided that the Child Support Commission should not be in the business of issuing advisory memorandums or advisory opinions, as we had talked about whether or not that was an option for us. So that was the Statute Review Subcommittee's report.
I know, and Katie and Justice Land have joined us. Do either of you have any questions about any of that?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I had to pull over to get my microphone working, but I don't have any questions, and
All right.
that all sounds like a reasonable plan to me.
So the other, we also have the issue around the opinion letter, and the recommendation from the Statute Review Committee is not get in the business of issuing opinion letters. I don't know if that needs a vote. I think if we were going to get in the business of doing it, it would. It's just no one's taking that recommendation to do it to the full commission. Out of the technology and calculator, out of the economic study, well, I find it here. Yeah, the economic subcommittee, there's a recommendation to hire Dr. Jane Venor for to do the work for us around that study. So other than the minutes, which we'll do separately, if there's no objection, both of these recommendations come from standing committees, do not need a second. So I would call for a vote on both hiring Dr. Venor and those specific recommendations coming out of the Statute Review Committee. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, then those matters carry then. Thank you for all of you who put so much hard work into that. The minutes have been previously distributed. Is there any recommendation to change, modify, make any changes to the minutes? Then they will stand approved as submitted. I think they takes care of all of our action items. We appreciate everybody logging on. And Justice Land, actually, I'm in Columbus teaching all day today. I was here yesterday. I see you in your car. If you get a chance, drop by for lunch with us over at the Hotel Indigo. You got a bunch of your people here doing child welfare work.
I appreciate that. I'm not in Columbus, but enjoy while you're there.
But we have, except it's hot. Ooh, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Sorry for my delay this morning. I got pulled away. It's been a busy week, but
I'm
glad
sure it has.
glad to be with y'all.
And up front, we recognize your new position. We're so proud of you for getting that position. Excited for you and for those us in the legal business. So
I appreciate that. Not sure what I got myself into, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order? On the meeting, what we're going to do is we're going to send out a doodle poll. There's a sense of somewhat urgency to address these legislative matters. So staff will be getting out a doodle poll of whichever tool they use to select some dates in September, early October, if possible, to come back together and address some proposed legislation. Anything else we need to attend to? Judge Colbert, are you trying to talk to us? Okay. All right. We stand adjourned. Thank you all.